when the projector's on.
Well, I'm cutting this part out anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, class. I want us to remember back to last week when we practiced finding the main idea in shorter passages by looking for clues that helped us figure out what the author wanted us to learn. Today, we're going to build on that skill by finding the central idea in a nonfiction article about renewable energy. Finding the central idea helps us understand informational texts we see in the news, in science, and daily life, not just classroom time, but outside. Have you ever seen machines like this and wondered what they do? These machines use renewable energy to make electricity. Solar panels use the sun, and wind turbines use wind. Our standard for today is that we're going to analyze the central idea, implied or explicit, and its development throughout a text. Our objective for today, this is very important, is given a grade-appropriate expository passage, how renewable energy powers our world, students will identify the central idea and explain two supporting details with 80% accuracy, as measured by a comprehension chart and teacher observation. Good readers can find the central idea of a nonfiction text and explain how the author supports it with details. Today, I want to show you how good readers look for examples, facts, and comparisons that help them understand the author's main message. This will help you become a stronger reader in all subjects, especially science and social studies, where authors use details to explain big ideas. Some vocabulary I want us to go over before we read our passage is renewable, which is energy that comes from natural sources that can be replaced. Efficient, which is using energy or resources without wasting them. Energy, which is power used to do work or produce heat and light. And technology, which is machines and tools created using science. Today's lesson, I want you to read along with me as I read the first paragraph of how renewable energy powers our world. I want you to pay attention to the highlighted key words: fossil fuels, renewable energy, sunlight, wind, and moving water. The first paragraph says, have you ever wondered how the energy that powers our homes and schools is made? Much of the world still relies on fossil fuels like coal and oil, and natural gases. However, these energy sources are limited and release gases that harm the environment. Renewable energy, and on the other hand, comes from natural sources that can be replaced, like sunlight, wind, and moving water. Using these highlighted words, I can see that the author is trying to explain that renewable energy helps the environment. That must be the central idea. So, at the top, I'm going to write that the central idea is renewable energy helps the environment. the environment. Okay, for our guided practice today, we're going to look at the second paragraph. The second paragraph, as I'm reading the second paragraph, I want you to make sure you're reading along with me. Solar energy is captured by solar panels that turn sunlight into electricity. Even on cloudy days, solar panels can still generate power because they collect light, not heat. Wind energy comes from turbines that spin when the wind blows. The motion of the blades powers a generator that creates electricity. Hydroelectric energy uses moving water, like rivers or dams, to turn turbines and produce electricity. Now, I want you to turn to your shoulder partner . Okay, now I'm going to have you turn to your shoulder partner and tell them what you noticed about how the author explains renewable energy here. What examples or facts do you see that connect the idea of clean, long-lasting power? And then once everyone has talked to their partners, when we come back together, we're going to complete the central idea and details chart. Okay, turn to your partners and talk.
So I saw some things like solar panels, wind energy, and where it was talking about the water power, that hydroelectric power. I think those are important details.
Okay, class, can I have your attention? We're going to move on to our chart. Finding the central idea of nonfiction. We're going to use the central idea, which is what the text is mostly about, and the big picture, I am going to say that the central idea is renewable energy provides clean, long-lasting ways to power our world. I want you guys to come up with the supporting details. So who has some supporting details? Yes.
So, solar panel use sunlight and turns into electricity.
That is correct. One of ours is that solar panels capture sunlight and turn it into electricity. Anybody have another one? Yes.
Wind turbines use wind.
The wind turbines use wind to produce energy. That is correct. Now, our last detail. Who has our last detail? Yes.
Hydroelectric generate power from water.
That is correct. Our hydroelectric dams generate power using moving water. And over here I have some pictures of our solar panels, our wind turbines, and our hydroelectric dams. Now, we're going to talk about how we know what the supporting details and central idea are, and the thinking steps that we've been using this entire lesson. Does anybody have one? Yes.
So we look for things that were said over and over, repeated.
Yes. Anybody have another one they would like to share?
What they gave examples of.
Yes. And our last thing we use when we want to know what the central idea is when we ask ourselves how this detail helps explain the central idea. Now, I want us to use this sentence phrase down here, the central idea is, to write down one sentence in your notebook about how these examples support the central idea. I'm gonna give you a couple, like 20 seconds to do that. And for an example of this is, I'm just gonna say an example. The central idea is renewable energy provides clean, long-lasting ways to power our world. The author shows that renewable energy helps power the world by giving examples of solar, wind, and water power. Okay. Now, to link all of what we've learned today and move you into your independent practice, I want us to go over how you're going to use these every day. So, today and every day, you can look for clues like examples, facts, and comparisons that help you find the central idea of what you're learning. As you're reading, I want you to always, always, always ask yourself, what is the author trying to teach me? And what details help me understand that message? When you do this, you'll become a stronger reader who can explain what an author really wants you to know. For your independent practice, I want you to read the third paragraph by yourself and highlight and underline key words and sentences that support the central idea. And then once you're done doing that, I want you to complete the sentence frame. The central idea of this passage is, and then I want you to put the central idea. Okay? And then one detail that supports it is, and then you're going to put one of the supporting details. And then you're going to write another sentence saying another detail is, and then you're going to use another detail. I only want 2 details from you this time. But as you're reading, I want you to think, what repeated ideas do you notice? How do these examples connect back to the author's main message? I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to do that. I'm going to walk around, make sure you're doing everything correctly, answer any questions you might have. And you can always refer back to our chart over there on how we did the second paragraph to help you with the third. Okay, class, let's come back together to do our closing. Today we learned how to identify the central idea and supporting details in a non-fiction text. Turn to your partner and share your answer to this question up here. What is the central idea of the passage, and what details helped you find it?
So, the central idea is renewable energy provides clean, long-lasting ways of power to power our world. And our details were about the solar panels and our wind turbines and hydroelectric dams that are used to make energy.
I'm hearing some very good conversation. We're going to bring it back. Thank you. This is important because it helps us understand what authors want readers like us to learn from the passage. Next time we're in class, we'll learn how to find the author's purpose and point of view. We'll build on this skill that we learned today by considering why the author wrote the text and how their purpose shapes the information they share. Thank you.